With the Sabres on the verge of another season without making the playoffs, is it time to take drastic measures? Welcome to Billievers Talk. My name is Joe, and welcome to this Could It Happen Buffalo Sports edition of Billievers Talk, where we take a hot take in Buffalo sports and we ask ourselves, could it happen? Again, thank you for joining me. My name is Joe. If you're new to the channel, first of all, welcome. And if you are a fan of Buffalo sports or this content, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like this video, and leave a comment. Let me know what you think about the possibility that Jack Eichel could be traded from the Buffalo Sabres. So again, guys, every Monday between now and the start of the NFL football season, I will be putting out these Could It Happen videos talking about Buffalo sports, taking those hot takes and asking, could it happen? In this video, we're going to talk about the Buffalo Sabres. Our first two installments, we talked about the Bills, we talked about Josh Allen, we talked about Devin Singletary. In this episode, we're going to talk about Jack Eichel. Jack Eichel, star for the Buffalo Sabres, a guy who recently signed a contract extension back in 2017 to be on the Buffalo Sabres for 8 more years, signed an 8-year, $80 million contract back in 2017. That contract is not due to expire until 2026-2027 NHL season. So if the Sabres choose to keep Jack Eichel, then they still have a long time to do it. And Jack Eichel's still a young NHL player. I mean, he was drafted in 2015, the second overall pick by the Buffalo Sabres. So he still has plenty of time left in his NHL career, but does he want to play for the Buffalo Sabres? And do the Buffalo Sabres at some point say, hey, we're not making the playoffs still? Currently, the Buffalo Sabres on an 8-year playoff drought. Looks like that playoff drought's going to move to 9 years after the Sabres went 0-3 on a West Coast trip, losing to the Avalanche, losing to the Vegas Knights, and then losing to the Arizona Coyotes. I mean, it didn't look like we were going to make the playoffs before that trip, but those 3 losses in a row really sink our chances of making the playoffs. So again, it looks like the Sabres will miss out for another year. That makes it 9 straight years that the Sabres have not made the playoffs. Does Jack Eichel, A, want to continue to play for a team that, if you look at the front office, doesn't look like they're making moves to improve this team? We'll talk about that a little bit. And B, do the Sabres feel like they can get a boatload back from him? Because that's what it would take for this trade to happen. They'd have to receive gold for this trade to happen, and then be able to build off what they get as far as pieces in a trade for Jack Eichel. So let's first talk about the reasons why I think this trade could happen. Before I do that, I do want to say, guys, remember, this is a could it happen video. This isn't I think it's going to happen. This isn't I want it to happen. I am a huge Jack Eichel fan, and I want to see him do well, and I want to see him do well with the Buffalo Sabres. If he continues to do well, hopefully eventually that means the Buffalo Sabres will start doing well again. I like Jack Eichel as the centerpiece for this team. But let's talk about why this could happen potentially, and talk about why this shouldn't or won't happen, and then I'll let you guys decide, could it happen? So the reasons why the Buffalo Sabres could trade Jack Eichel is because, first and foremost, again, like I was alluding to earlier, Jack Eichel could simply demand this trade. Jack Eichel can look at the moves that this front office is making and say, no, I want to play for a team in the prime of my career. I want to play for a team that wants to win. And with some of the moves that the Buffalo Sabres front office has made recently in the past few years, it just doesn't seem like it sometimes. It does not seem like this is a team that wants to win. It looks like this is a front office that's in complete disarray sometimes. I mean, you talk about the O'Reilly trade last season. How did O'Reilly make out in that one, right? I mean, he's hoisting up the Stanley Cup just a few months later. Talk about this past trade deadline. Trading for Wayne Simmonds. Now, listen, I know we got him for the cheap, right? 5th round draft pick. I'm a fan of that one, right? But still, Wayne Simmonds is the type of player in this point of his career who's a depth forward, who should have gone to a playoff potential type team, who needs forward depth. Listen, the Sabres need forward depth, all right? We need as much depth as we can get at this point. But we're not a playoff team. And at this point in Wayne Simmonds' career, first of all, why does he want to spend any time with a team like the Buffalo Sabres? And secondly, why are we wasting capital that we could use for something else? A 5th round draft pick might only be a 5th round draft pick, but it could still lead to a young talent for a Wayne Simmonds veteran type player who should have gone somewhere else. Let's be honest about that. Listen, I have no issues with Wayne Simmonds. being close to Philadelphia. I've watched him play a lot of his career, and listen, he was a great player when he was with the Philadelphia Flyers, but unfortunately he's just not at that point in his career anymore. He's not going to revitalize himself in Buffalo and become this star player in Buffalo. It's just not going to happen. So those are moves like that that just really confuse not only the fan base, but confuse the players currently on the Buffalo Sabres team, including a star player like Jack Eichel, wondering, what is this team doing to win, to give me, being Jack Eichel, pieces around me to potentially lead this team to a playoff berth, to maybe a conference finals, or even a Stanley Cup finals appearance somewhere down the line. So Jack Eichel could demand a trade. Again, he doesn't want to play for a team like the Buffalo Sabres, who consistently keep losing and don't show that progression that everyone would love to see. Secondly, he has a no movement clause in his contract that goes into effect at the start of the 2022-2023 season. So right now we can move Jack Eichel. He can be traded to another team. But as soon as that 2022 season hits, so 2 years away, he has that no trade clause in his contract. So the Sabres might be thinking, if we want to trade him, if we don't think this is working, now is the time to do it. Strike while the iron is hot and get as much back as you can for Jack Eichel now, and use those pieces to maybe start rebuilding something else, even though the Sabres fan base are sick and tired of hearing rebuild and things like that, because we haven't rebuilt. We continue to lose. Like I said, currently sitting now on a nine season playoff drought. So we know a thing or two about, if you're a Buffalo fan, you know a thing or two about playoff droughts. We don't want to see it last much longer here. So, but that's another thing. You have that no movement clause in his contract. You might feel like now is when you need to trade, if you want to trade, because you might not get the opportunity in a couple of years. Another issue that the Buffalo Sabres might run into is cap space. Now, I don't think that cap space would be reason to move Jack Eichel. I believe that we would move someone like a Jeff Skinner prior to moving Jack Eichel. But currently, the Buffalo Sabres just have barely over $5 million in cap space going into next season. Now, I know there are some contracts that are expiring between the 2019-2020 season and the 2020-2021 season. But cap space might become an issue. You're talking about a Buffalo Sabres team that's 28th in paying their goalies, and I think they're like 21st in paying their defensemen. So they don't have high salaries for those positions. And listen, guys, we've seen our goalies over the past few seasons. Hutton not doing a thing. Johansson, who came in for Ullmark, not doing anything good, and it just is not getting any better. So maybe we need to spend some more money on defensemen. Maybe we need to spend some more money on goaltending, and we can hopefully start to see some more improvement in those areas. Unfortunately, in order to spend more money in those areas, we have to skim money from that forward position, because currently the Sabres, I believe, 10th in money owed to or money being paid out to forwards in the NHL. So it has to come from somewhere. It would have to come from there before the Buffalo Sabres can improve their defense, improve their goaltending, which is horrendous, and we need to see improvement there. Another reason why the Buffalo Sabres might consider a trade with Jack Eichel is because the Sabres, since Jack Eichel has been on the Buffalo Sabres, they haven't gotten any better, guys. Let me talk to you about the standings in the Atlantic Division for the Buffalo Sabres since 2015, when we drafted Jack Eichel. So in 2015, we finished 7th in the Atlantic Division. There are 8 teams in the Atlantic Division. We finished 7th with 81 points. In 2016, we finished 8th with 78 points. In 2017, we finished 8th again, this time with only 62 points. And then last season, we finished 6th with 76 points. This season, it looks like we're going to finish 6th again, currently have 66 points. So in the remaining 17 games, we need at least 10 points to at least match last season's total. If not, then again, we're not getting any better. Again, let me go through the point totals for the past 5 seasons: 81 points, 78 points, 62 points, 76 points, and right now 66 points. We're not getting much better. You need about 95 points or more to make the playoffs in the NHL. So again, maybe that's the reason why the Buffalo Sabres finally say, listen, we're not getting better with this kid as our centerpiece. And listen, we all know Jack Eichel's a great player, but trade him and hope that we can get some good players, some good draft capital, and look towards the future with the Buffalo Sabres. And that's pretty much it for me as far as reasons why the Buffalo Sabres could potentially trade Jack Eichel. I give you 3 decent reasons there. Again, I don't see this actually happening. I'm just actually asking, could it happen? Let me know out of those reasons which one you like the most. Or better yet, if you have a reason why the Buffalo Sabres could potentially trade Jack Eichel, let me know in the comment section. And guys, before we go any further and you say there's no way this is going to happen, this wouldn't be completely unprecedented. Now, if you think about the money, that's a big deal, right? The contract, $10 million a season. A team's going to want to have to pay that to a star player, which they probably would for a Jack Eichel type player. But if you look at the 1992 season, the Quebec Nordiques, I believe they're no longer in the NHL. They're now the Colorado Avalanche. But Quebec traded Eric Lindros, who was their first-round draft pick, to the Philadelphia Flyers, and they got a haul in return in that 1992 season. So it's not like it's completely unprecedented. This wouldn't rank up there with the Wayne Gretzky trade or the Patrick Waugh trade that obviously shook the NHL. It wouldn't be that big, but it would be a pretty big trade if it were to happen. But again, it's not completely unprecedented that one team gets a haul for one player. Just go back to 1992, look at the Quebec trade with the Philadelphia Flyers to see that, hey, it could happen. But again, I don't think this trade is likely. I'm going to go over a few reasons why I think the Buffalo Sabres will hold on to Jack Eichel. The first reason why I think the Buffalo Sabres are going to hold on to Jack Eichel is simply due to his age. Jack Eichel is currently 23 years old, and he's a 3-time All-Star already, so he's proven that he can be an all-elite type NHL player. He's proven that he can be a centerpiece of a team, and if you put more pieces around Jack Eichel, he's only going to improve. Again, 23 years old, has been in the league already since 2015, so you're talking about now a guy who's going into his 6th season. He's going to be a veteran, or he is a veteran in the NHL, so you bring in these young players who are hopefully going to continue to help this Buffalo Sabres team improve. Jack Eichel's the guy that you want to be there to show them how to get it done, to show them what he needs to see from them in order to continue to improve this team. Again, this Buffalo Sabres team has not improved since 2015. It continues to lose. But if you keep a guy like Jack Eichel, then at least it's a first step in a stepping stone of getting back to the playoffs, getting back to seeing regular playoff success, and hopefully seeing a Stanley Cup final appearance in the next 6 years. Now remember, we still have 6 years left on that 8-year extension. You do not sign a player to an 8-year, $80 million contract extension and then get rid of him after 2 seasons. I know this Sabres team is struggling, but he still has 6 years left to go. You said when you made that contract as a Sabres front office, you said, hey, this guy is going to be our centerpiece. Let's make him our centerpiece for long term. You did that. Now you have a chance to keep him. Again, unless he forces a trade and demands a trade, I would keep him with the Buffalo Sabres as long as you can, because he's a young guy. He's continuing to show up at the All-Star game, showing that he has the skills to get it done at an elite level. Secondly, Jack Eichel's enjoying the best season of his career this season. Currently, Jack Eichel has 77 points. He only needs 5 points in the last 17 games to tie a career high in points for himself. So 6 points, he sets a new benchmark for career high in points for the Buffalo Sabres. So he's enjoying one of his best seasons, if not his best season, currently as an NHL player. Has 35 goals this season, 42 assists, again, 77 points. And this is the first time in his career, currently sitting at +8, in his plus-minus differential. This would be the first time in his career that he's finished the season with a plus-minus. Actually, in the plus side, the past 4 seasons, he's actually had minus plus-minus ratios. But then again, that's due to a poor team. You can't really take that all out on Jack Eichel. I believe that the plus-minus stat is a team stat, but it would be cool to see Jack Eichel finally get credited with a plus in the plus minus rather than a minus like he has his first 4 seasons. So that's another reason why I don't think we're going to get rid of Jack Eichel. He's enjoying the best season of his young NHL career. And guys, if we keep putting pieces around him, it's only going to get better. Jack Eichel hasn't exactly had a lot of help. in his first 4 or 5 seasons with the Buffalo Sabres. So, and he's doing this pretty much on his own, and he's sitting there at 77 points, looking to get over 80 points this year for the Buffalo Sabres, almost double everyone on the team, minus Poso, and I believe there's another guy that he's not doubling up yet in points. I mean, that's something that you have to give him credit for, and hopefully you do continue to see that improvement. Hopefully we get some more pieces around him that can help him continue to shine as a player and help this team shine and share in his success. The third reason why I just don't think it's going to happen, why I don't think the Buffalo Sabres are going to get rid of Jack Eichel, is because it's going to be hard to move not only that type of contract, but to get the haul back that you want for a superstar like a Jack Eichel. You're not only trading $10 million a year, which some teams are going to look at and just not be able to afford. We talked about the Buffalo Sabres only having about $5.5 million worth of cap space. Other teams are strapped for cash as well in the NHL. So taking on a $10 million contract per season is a lot of money in the NHL. You talk about Jack Eichel and Jeff Skinner, when Jeff Skinner signed his $9 million contract, being the highest paid 1-2 tandem in the NHL, which still blows my mind considering the fact that we don't even make the playoffs. If you're going to pay two players that much money, you better hope that you start making the playoffs, and it just isn't happening again this season. So you hope that happens soon for this Buffalo Sabres team. But if you keep putting those high salaries out there, you got Jack Eichel, Jeff Skinner, then you're not gonna have a lot of money to trickle down to those second, third line type players, to the defensemen, to those goaltenders, players that you need to make runs in the postseason, and when you make the postseason, if you do make the postseason. So I don't see Jack Eichel being traded because of that big contract. And again, what kind of team has the type of haul that you're going to want for a star player like a Jack Eichel, right? You're going to want multiple first-round draft picks. You're going to want a young star player in return. You're going to want certain things that most teams can't offer you anymore when it comes to these NHL trades. So it's going to be really hard to find a suitor for a Jack Eichel type trade, even if it's out there. I know that during the NHL trade deadline, there were some rumblings that maybe we would trade Jack Eichel, but again, there's just no one out there. And if you're the Buffalo Sabres front office, you do have to consider, hey, you know what? 8 straight seasons, 9 straight seasons of not making the NHL playoffs. Maybe everyone's on the trading block. Maybe for the right price, everyone is on the trading block. And I say that all the time about the Buffalo Sabres. Listen, you should be able to listen to every single phone call. Now, there's a difference between making those phone calls and saying, hey, Jack Eichel's on the trading block, and receiving phone calls from other teams who are asking about a Jack Eichel type player. But still, you should be listening to every proposal out there and deciding if that's what you want to do, especially if you're a team like the Buffalo Sabres who haven't made the playoffs in the past 8 or 9 seasons. But again, guys, I would hate to see Jack Eichel go. I don't want to see Jack Eichel go. I don't think we're going to see Jack Eichel go. I would give this less than a 5% chance of happening. But again, we're talking about could it happen. So let me know in the comment section, what do you think? Do you think Jack Eichel could be traded from the Buffalo Sabres? If you do, tell me what team would interest you in a trade. If you know what team, what haul you would want for a player like a Jack Eichel. Again, guys, thank you for joining me on this Could It Happen Buffalo Sports edition of Believers Talk. If you have an idea for this Could It Happen series, remember, I'm doing this every Monday between now and the start of the NFL season, so we have from now till August. Let me know in the comment section if there's a video you want me to do. Be happy to do it, but I look forward to hanging out with you guys again soon. Again, remember, guys, we do give you content almost every single day of the work week, so make sure you hit that notification bell after you subscribe. Got some combine videos coming up for you to go over the NFL combine, some more free agent videos coming up for you to go over that, and maybe some more breaking news, whether it be the Sabres, the Bills, or anything around Buffalo sports. We have you covered right here. So again, thank you for joining me. I look forward to talking to you all soon. Until I do, go Sabres.